Good morning, everyone. This is Andrew Kimmons with Kimmons Toolworks, and it's been a little while since I've done a video. I like to do videos when I have new stuff, and that just doesn't happen super often. So today I have not only something new, but something really cool and kind of over the top, and I like it, and I think you'll like it. And I don't know as to how popular this will be, because they're obviously not cheap, but it takes something pretty cool to make me genuinely smile. So I would say this is pretty cool. So yeah, let's check this out and we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, that is probably a bigger mortise chisel than you could even imagine. This is an 1.5 inch framing mortise chisel. Look at that thing. That is freaking enormous. And the blade itself weighs 7 pounds. It's a little bit over 7 pounds. It's like 7 pounds 6 ounces, something like that. This thing is freaking phenomenal. And I had to start, I think, with a piece of stock that was like 2.25 inches to make that, because you have to think the diameter of the stock has to be from corner to corner and actually still leave enough to end up with a clean edge. So it has to be like an 1/8 inch bigger than this distance here. So yeah, that was a big piece of material. And since the tang is like way back into here, this thing, it was like an 18 inch long piece of 2.25. It was a really big piece of stock to have to machine. And it took a while. They're time consuming, but yeah, the tang on these is a 1/2 inch diameter. It's not a small tang. It's an absolutely enormous tang on these things. So, and they are built like a tank. And even the ferrules on these, I machined those too. So every piece and part, it's got the compression caps like the framing chisels on the end of that thing, and they're basically a pressure fit, and they're just this is going to be an indestructible tool. And the primary bevel angle on it is 30 degrees and the secondary is 35. This obviously isn't the kind of thing that you're going to want to hone, like if you ever have to redo the primary. This isn't something you're going to want to like hone on a DMT. It would take you years of honing on a DMT to get anywhere with this thing. So, and they're in Cocobolo. And we've never seen framing chisels in Cocobolo. Everybody's always done the straight curly maple. But Cocobolo is such a good material, and it's so stable that, it's an excellent choice for framers. And the customer sent the material for it too, and he sent really good quality stuff. I haven't had any issues with defects or anything like that. So yeah, I've been really happy with the quality of the material that he sent. And as always, you can send whatever material you'd like, and I can also search out materials. Yeah, if you're interested in anything you see in these videos or on like the social media platforms and stuff like that, just send me an email, andrew@kimmonshandtools.com. I've been a little bit running behind in life. There's been a lot of personal life crises going on this summer, but honestly, I'd rather not even discuss those, because I don't need to put my personal life on social media. Honestly, I just don't really care about that. And sympathy and pity makes me kind of feel gross. So I would rather just do this. And right here we have a 2-inch framing chisel, also in Cocobolo, compression cap on the end. And once again, I machine every part in-house, even these big sockets. And the tang on these is 3/8 of an inch, and it goes way down in here too. So these things they're extremely durable tools. They're designed to be beat on. So, and it's pretty cool seeing the matched pair with a mortise chisel to match that. And I've had a lot of people comment too that, you know, they like the fact that the mortise chisels I make, when I make wide diameters, that I don't shrink them this way to, you know, save money on material. It's like, I just want to proportionately make a mortise chisel the way it should be. And to me, to have a proper mortise chisel, it would have to be at least as high as it is wide, preferably maybe a little bit higher. But that's just for me, because you want to obviously be able to locate square. And if you only have an edge to your chisel that's like that, it's way harder to do that. So, I mean, that's just my thing. I'm there, you know what? My customers are pretty much all better woodworkers than me. I'm not some phenomenal woodworker, and I don't claim to be. And so I have learned a phenomenal amount of things from my customers. And I continue to every day. Like a lot of the tools that I hear about, I didn't even know existed. I have customers ask me for things all the time, and I say, what is that? I don't even know. Like, I'm primarily a metal worker, and I tinker with woodworking, and, you know, anything I do, I like to put the effort into it to do it to the best of my ability. But when it comes to the hand-cut joinery and stuff like that, like I see my customers doing, man, I'm not there personally. And I'm okay with admitting that. I'm no hotshot woodworker, but I do enjoy it. And that's why I started doing all this stuff. Look at that freaking monster. Look at that thing. I wish you could actually experience this thing in person, because it doesn't look nearly as big in the camera as it is. I mean, this thing is huge. That's an 8-pound blade almost. 7 pounds. I think it's 7 pounds 6 ounces, something like that. The complete tool. Let me weigh the complete tool, and then we'll know. How about that? Then I don't have to guess. I guess it lost a little bit of weight since oh, that's right. When I measured the blade, it was before I took excess off the end and cut this bevel. So it comes in around 6 pounds 10 ounces. So I was off. But that's definitely not a light blade. And this is an A2. Like always, most of the mortise, well, all of the mortise chisels to this point have been A2, because finding CPM materials and bar stock to start with isn't exactly easy to do. So I'm sure I could, but I haven't ventured into that territory yet, because honestly, A2, and this thing, believe it or not, this thing turned out 63 Rockwell. The amount of time that this took to soak in my forge was ridiculous. To get this heated up all the way through, to get it heated consistently and evenly throughout. Like, this thing took a long time. And it took a long time to quench. I mean, it took a long time to pull the heat out of this thing. But it turned out great, and the hardness on it is just like any other mortise chisel, whether it be, you know, an 1/8 inch or a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. So it was cool. I was really glad to see that this came out on par with the hardness of all the other mortise chisels. So I've been extremely happy with this, and I'm going to depart with it. It will be leaving before the end of the week, and I wanted to make sure to get plenty of videos and pictures of this. And if you want one, feel free. Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com, and I can make it happen. I know I've been a little behind with my messengers and stuff like that, just because life has been nuts with, like I said, like personal life drama and stuff like that going on. But yeah, it's going through a lot of little changes in life. So Not so little changes, pretty big changes, but you know, we're gonna get through it and everything's gonna be just fine. So switching gears back to my real life, which is making tools and sharing them with people that think that they're cool, because you know, I have a passion for making stuff, and whether it be tools or really just about anything, I really enjoy making things. Making things makes me happy, and it always has. And then when I started making tools, it was like, okay, this is a lot of fun. Like, this is uniquely cool because it involves a lot of different parts of the process. You know, you have machining, you have precision grinding, you have heat treating, you have wood turning and things like that. It's a lot of different things. And then you throw in how many different tools I make, and it's like, it's seemingly endless. Like, there's always something more to do. And if anyone has any ideas for tools that I don't currently make but should, and probably could, because I have equipment limitations and stuff like that, obviously we all do, but if you have any ideas, send me an email and let me know, because like I said, I am definitely not the all-knowing woodworker that's familiar with all the tools all throughout history. And like, what I would really like to do is start making some tools that have kind of existed once upon a time but have died off and they're not made anymore. Kind of revive some things that people love, and the only way that they can get them is to find them used at an antique store or something like that. I would enjoy bringing back some of those things, because I know a lot of those things have died off. But yeah, so if you're familiar with any, let me know, and I will definitely look into it and see if I can do that. But yeah, these look awesome in Cocobolo. I'm extremely happy with looking at these in Cocobolo for the first time. Just turned out very pretty. And they're a little bit smudgy, but that's all right. They'll get cleaned up before they go to the customer. I'm gonna take pictures for Facebook and stuff like that too, so they'll get cleaned up before that. But it's like a moment of silence. I just enjoy it. So, and obviously you can choose whatever handles you want for stuff like this. And I currently make these, what is it, from, I can do these from 3/4 inch up to 2.5 inch currently. But if you want something that's outside of that spectrum, I can do that as well. It's just with these larger size blades, obviously, as you go up in size, it goes up in price. Because, and the funny thing is it's like, for some reason, you can take something like this and you can go up 1/2 inch to 2.5 inch, and it's as if the grinding triples. I don't fully understand why. It's like you would add another 1/2 inch width, and it's like it's 2 or 3 times the work. I don't get that. It's odd, and I've always thought that that's kind of odd, but it is what it is. And I go through a lot of fresh abrasives to speed that process up. And I don't know if I've gotten too deeply into the discussion on abrasives with grinding metal, but I might touch on that a little bit. Let me put this one in the forefront. Maybe you can see the size of it a little better if I put it there. I might touch on abrasives a little bit, because different abrasives on steel create different finishes. And it's the same with woodworking. It's just a little bit different with metal. Like, for example, a good belt for just material removal. Well, honestly, when I'm just trying to rip through material, I'll use a 36 grit ceramic and just rip through it. But that would leave an absolutely horrible finish on a tool. So I'll go from that to like an 80 grit. And that's another good one. Like the bevels, the side bevels that I grind, that's 80 grit ceramic finish. And you can see it right here, what that finish looks like. It ends up okay. It's like a satin finish, but I like that on the edges. That looks cool on the edges to me, so I leave that. But you don't necessarily want that kind of finish on the top of a chisel where you would look at it, and it's like when you see it laying on a bench, you want to see a nice, smoother, shinier finish. So this is the interesting thing. Ceramic sucks at creating that finish. And I've tried them. I've tried 120 grit ceramic. I've tried it all. But the best possible finish that I've noticed is a particular abrasive that's not even meant for steel. Definitely not for hardened steel, which is aluminum oxide. A typical abrasive that you would use on a sander for wood. That is what works the best that I've ever seen for creating that good finish on a piece of steel. Even hardened steel. It will cut hardened steel. It just doesn't cut super quickly. It's not like you're removing tons of material and tons of materials flying off of there. That's just not the way it is. So it's a process of working down your grits, kind of like sanding a floor. You know, if you sand a floor, you know, you start with 36, go to 50, go to 80, work your way down. It's the same thing with steel, but I end up at 120 grit aluminum oxide. And after that, I use a well-worn 120 grit aluminum oxide, which, trust me, well-worn on hardened steel happens very quickly. Like, I will buy those belts, even the big ones. I use some really, really big ones that are like at 6 by, I think, well, not super big. They're like 6 by 48. But a couple blades like that and 120 grit aluminum oxide becomes well-worn at that point. Especially at 63 Rockwell. And like, I like to build some flexibility into these. So you're at 63 Rockwell up to about here, and then it starts tapering off to back to the back side of it. If you were to use it down to here, you'll be at about 61. And then you come back here a little bit, and that way you have some flexibility back here at the tang. And in here, it's more like a spring, where it has that, you know, it can flex, it can move. But, yeah. So that's my little thing about abrasives, and they matter, and I'm kind of nutty with abrasives. That's why I have hundreds and hundreds of belts hanging back there behind me. But yeah, aluminum oxide I have found. Oh, and zirconia is another good one for steel, but once again, I don't like the finish, and it's because the harder abrasives that are meant for cutting hardened steel and stuff like that, it's as if they have a sharper cut, and that sharper cut leaves a rougher looking appearance. And I like the smooth appearance of the aluminum oxide. Like a well-worn aluminum oxide abrasive just leaves a nice finish. So that's my little thing. Hopefully maybe you learned something from that. If you're interested in any of the almost 200 different blade styles I make, not to mention all the different handles, there's tons of, I mean, it's infinite handle options. If you're interested in any of that, Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com. And I also wanted to, before the end of this video, scoot this over. I ran off some extra blades with my last chisel batch, and because I tend to do that sometimes. And we're going to be at roughly, let's see, these aren't finished yet. I think we have a 7/8, a 3/4, a 5/8, a half, and a 3/8. And these are going to be extras, and I'm going to put those up for sale discounted. And if you're interested in them, I have a couple handle options that I can do under the discount for those. Let's see, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 5-piece set, and I can do them currently in walnut, and I can also do them in a mixture of exotic woods, some extra blanks that I have sitting around. And let's go see what those are. And if you're interested in that, let me know, and I can make that happen. And these are going to be socket tang. I know I've done the overstock discount stuff like that with the tang style, but this is all socket tang. So this hasn't happened before. But they're going to end up being, it's going to be, let's see, $7.50 in walnut for that set. And if you want to do the exotic woods, it looks like I have an extra in here, so it would end up some combination of these. But I have maple burl, a piece of Zeracote, leopard wood, quilted sapelli, that's snake wood, and some olive wood. So if you want to do that, I think that would end up being like an extra 20 bucks a handle to do it in those materials. And I'll tell you right now, like that's $100 piece of wood. So if you do this, like the discount would be ridiculous. So yeah, and it would end up being an extra 100 bucks. So like to do it in the exotic wood would be $8.50 to do that whole set in the exotic wood. So that saves you probably like a ridiculous amount off of it. It'll end up saving you over, well, geez, well over $100 per chisel versus these at full price and those at full price. So Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com if you want to do this. Of course, you can also do them in just straight walnut for $7.50. And I have some other sets going together, and those would be together within a couple weeks and going out. So it wouldn't be like a, hey, they ship tomorrow. It'll be a, hey, they ship in a couple weeks thing. So Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com. Let me know if you're interested in the extra set, and they're gonna go as a set, not as singles. I don't want to do the whole onesie twosie thing. It just gets confusing, and life's too short to spend it all confused. So I spend enough of my life confused anyway, so I don't need any more confusion. Yeah, so the star of the show today is this giant beast. So I hope you have a great day out there, and I will see you next time.